If you have a dog, you probably go through a ton of Greek yogurt on like a weekly basis, if not more than that. I'm gonna show you a hack that saved us a ton of money because I make my own, and I've only been doing this for about a month, but it's like an infinite Greek yogurt hack. So here's what I do. Okay, so first you're gonna start with a pot. Doesn't matter what size. And then you're gonna get milk. It doesn't matter what kind of milk. Now, in my experience of doing this so far, I feel like skim, you don't get quite as much volume of yogurt. You'll still get yogurt, but you end up with more whey. And then the thicker, or like, 2% whole milk, like the heavier condenser milk you go, the more yogurt you'll get. But obviously, like, the higher calorie it will be, but like the creamier it will be. But it doesn't matter. Take your milk, and you're gonna put it in your pot. The other thing I'll say is that it does take time. So you're going to want to start making it probably around 10 to 11 hours before you want to actually like be done with it and put it in the fridge to set. Okay, so next you're going to turn the oven or the stove on. I do it to like medium high. What you're going to want to do, you don't necessarily need a thermometer. It does help, but if you just bring it to a boil, but if you have the thermometer, it's a lot easier because you temperature wise want it between 185 and like 190 Fahrenheit. And I have found that when I have the thermometer, the milk reaches that temperature before it boils. So I feel like I get better yogurt out of it. But if you don't have one and you don't have, I mean, a thermometer is like, I don't know, $5 or something. I'll show you mine. But it's not going to ruin it if you do just go to a boil and you don't have one. It's just more optimal if you do have one. This is the one that I bought. It kind of gives me, so it's a digital one. And so I can kind of move the clip up or down. And I kind of just like to clip it. And it tells me what the temperature is. And it just stays on and it monitors it. And so I just wait for the temperature of the milk to reach 190. Okay, so it has reached 190 degrees. A little over that. So I'm going to turn this off. This is what it looks like. You definitely want to make sure that you skim the top. You can see why I said that it's better to have the thermometer because it's not boiling yet. I moved it off of the hot part of the stove. So this is where you can do like two different things. So some people really like to put this into a separate bowl and then put it in like a warm place, like an oven that's been turned off, where it'll just like retain its own heat basically. I found out that my Instapot, it has a yogurt setting. So let me show you that. Okay, so this is my crock pot. And as you can see, it does have a yogurt button. So for me, I have found the best results when I use this. So what I do is you have to let it cool down first. You want to let it cool down to either where you can put your finger and hold it in there for 10 seconds, or if you have your thermometer, you want it between 100 and 110 degrees. So that's obviously what I do, but it will be about the same, basically lukewarm. I don't turn this on at first because when you turn this on, it's going to start heating up. I don't want it to heat up yet because I'm trying to help it cool down. Pour this into my Instapot. So I just pour it in here. I grabbed a slotted spoon so that I can take out any top scummy bits. Doesn't look like there's really anything though. So then I just like to scooch this all the way up. This doesn't really fit on the rim, so I just stick it in and I let it just continue to monitor it. Then you're gonna just wait. I've found that it usually probably takes close to an hour or so to just cool down on its own like this, because this does still conduct and retain heat pretty well, compared to like if you put it in a plastic bowl or something like that. So the times might be a little bit different. We're really close. We want it 110 or less. Okay, so I know I need a few more minutes for that to cool down all the way. So what I'm doing is I pulled out the last little smidge of Greek yogurt I had left. Whoops. So I'm going to take the last little bit of yogurt that I have and I'm going to mix it with some of the leftover whey from the last batch. If you don't have a batch you've made yourself yet, just take the last bit of yogurt, but make sure you have a little bit more than this. Make sure you have probably like at least 3 or 4 tablespoons because you're going to want to have a good amount. But if you have leftover whey, mix probably a quarter to a half cup of this in your next batch and it will work just fine. So I'm adding a little bit in because I want to at least liquefy this just a little bit before I temper it with the other liquid that's sitting right now, the milk that we just cooked. I'm just going to add enough for basically half cup, whatever. You don't have to be precise, but you just want to make sure there's going to be enough that you add into your milk to get the bugs going. So the temperature is finally to where we want it, between 100 and 110. So I'm going to take this out, and then I took a non-slotted spoon and I'm just going to put some of this in just to temper it, meaning that you're getting them to be about the same temperature, so when you introduce them together, they're not so shocked by the change. Because I did pull, obviously, this yogurt and stuff out of the fridge. Whoops. That should be good enough. So then you're just going to give it a little bit of a stir. Perfect. And then you're just going to take it and you're just going to pour it in. And then you're going to take your spoon and you're just going to mix that stuff together. Then you're going to want to plug this in. Here comes Coda. Okay, and then you're going to select yogurt. Now you're going to want to cook it from the range is going to be 8 to 10 hours. When I cooked mine for the first time at 8 hours, it was not enough. I've always done 10 hours and it's been perfect every time. So I recommend 9.5 to 10 hours. Oh, babies. Yeah. And then you hit start. Now you don't need the lid either. You're just going to grab a cloth and put it over the top, like so. And so this will just go for 10 hours. Okay, so the yogurt is done. So I already unplugged it, but this is what it looks like. So when you smell it, it should smell like yogurt. I don't know how else to explain it, but like when it's just the milk, when you first put it in here, it won't really smell like anything. But as it continues to cook, it will smell more and more like yogurt. I don't know how else to explain how it smells, but it'll also just be like kind of jiggly like Jell-O. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so next you're gonna want a bowl to put it in. You're going to want a strainer to put in there, and then you're going to want a cheesecloth. If you don't have a cheesecloth, either go buy cheesecloth because it's pretty cheap, and you reuse it forever, dude. Like, you just wash it with your fucking laundry or whatever. Looks like this. Or if you're pretty desperate and you don't have money for a cheesecloth, just use a pillowcase or a sheet or something. Like, it really doesn't matter that much. Or you could use paper towels. I would just do maybe like a double layer to make sure that you don't lose any of your yogurt. Okay, life is hard. And then you're literally just going to dump this in. I gotta get a spoon for the rest. So this is what it looks like once you have it in the strainer. It's still gonna be fairly loose. The whole point is, so this is basically just regular yogurt. If you want Greek yogurt, then you're going to want to strain it extra. So then what you're going to do is just set this in the fridge overnight. So you can kind of see underneath here, there's already whey in there. You can kind of see the yellow a little bit. So the whey is starting to get strained out, and you're going to want to cool this down in the fridge so that it can solidify a little bit more as well, like regular yogurt. This just then goes in the fridge. I would say at least maybe 6 hours or so. So it's the next morning. I just took my yogurt out of the fridge. This is what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. It's going to be a little thicker. If it's too thick for your liking, you can always take more of the whey from the bottom and you can mix it back in and make it more liquidy, and then it will be perfectly fine. So you can adjust it to your taste and texture preferences. So this is the leftover whey. You can use it in baking recipes in lieu of like the water, or for bread, or like I do during the summer months. I throw it in my smoothies instead of water or juice. You don't taste anything different, but it adds some extra protein and nutrients in there. So I took it out. It's still in this strainer, but I need to get this into my container. So you can just plop it in. I'm going to scoop it because this is a little different shape. Okay, so when it's done, it looks like this. This is literally plain Greek yogurt, exactly how it's made. Tastes exactly like it. You can add whatever you want to it. I use this for Coda a lot, same as you would use any other plain Greek yogurt.